Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and episodes in pop culture to see how that episode affects our daily lives. Today, we're getting ready to recap the second to the last episode of Insecure, Season 5, Episode 9, Out. Okay? I don't know why I thought this was going to be the last episode, because I was trying to figure out I thought they only had 9 episodes, but apparently they have 10 episodes. So we've got one more episode, which is next week, and then that's the series finale. So we'll just recap then, and we'll probably do on that episode a best of, just picking out going through the 5 seasons and discussing all the best episodes. And I'm probably going to do a deep dive rewatch. I'll probably watch every season and just kind of do a deep dive of what I liked about that season, characters that I liked and gonna miss. We'll do all that next week. We'll figure it all out next week. But anyway, let's get into this episode. So it opens up with Issa and Nathan making good on their promise of wanting to live together, letting their relationship blossom like it is. So they are currently looking at places to stay, and they fall in love with this place, only to find out that the person who is showing, the realtor that's showing them the place, has already rented it out about 5 minutes ago. And so they're in there talking about how they love the place, what they're going to be doing with the place, and all this other stuff. So they're still actively seeking places for them to live. So they have reached that part of their relationship where they are now committed to each other. They have decided and are committed to each other, which is good to see. Then we move on to Molly and Torian, and Torian comes out of the meeting with the partners, and he has this stone look on his face. And Molly and the other ladies who work at the other lawyers that work at the law firm, they kind of confront him and say, "Hey, did you make partner?" And then he just kind of takes a little deep breath, like, "Yeah, I make partner." Child, Molly grabbed that man neck like that man was like he was. You could tell that they were in a relationship, and the ladies picked up on it. She's like, they doing something. They fucking, aren't they? And she was like, yeah, the two ladies. So it is starting to pick up that Molly and Torian are in a relationship at their office place. So then it pans over to Lawrence and his friend. Is it Chad or Chaz? I think it's Chad. And they're sitting there talking because it appears that Lawrence is living with Chad. And Lawrence too is looking for a place to stay, but he tells Chad, I'm looking for a place to stay, but I'm not gonna settle this time. I want where I live to have everything that I need, everything that I need, which is good. Not just running into a new place to run into the sake of the new place. So I'm assuming that Lawrence found him a job down there in LA, which is cool. So him and Chad get to talking, and Lawrence is like, I may not go to Derek and Tiffany's party, because Chad was talking about this briefcase that he bought for Derek. And Lawrence is like, I don't think I'm going to go because these are Issa's friends. And he's like, they're your friends too. And he says, you're just not going because you didn't fight for Issa like he said. And so, how Lawrence is looking in his feelings, like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I wrote down what Chad said, because Chad is anyway, Chad dropped a gem. He said, you didn't fight for Issa. You were sitting back letting life happen like you were on the dock of a bay. And that was a reference to that song, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, watching the clouds roll away, sitting here, wasting time, I think it was. And so he was just basically telling Lawrence that you had Issa. You had Issa. When Issa pulled away from you, you didn't fight for her. You just kind of let it be, and you just kind of let it go. Even though you understood why she did it, but you still kind of let it pull back and let it go. which was got Lawrence to thinking about. He got to thinking about his relationship and how he didn't fight for Issa. So then we get to the main event. That's the party, the going away party for Tiffany and Derek. Do y'all remember? That's the one thing, because I know Tiffany's had some ups and downs and things like that as far as her character. But I've never seen her parents. We're in her parents' home. So apparently her parents seem to be well off. I'm trying to figure out, what did she ever say what her parents did, and did Derek ever say what his parents? Because we never really got introduced to them. Not that it was necessary, but we just was never introduced to Tiffany and Tiffany's parents or anything like that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It was just an observation that I made. So we get to the party. And the party's in full swing, honey. They've got hors d'oeuvres. I don't know, but that mac and cheese ball looked like it might be good. You know, it just seems a little bit much when you talk about it, but the way Issa and Nathan and Molly and Torian was biting into them things, they looked like they were good. But anyway, you know, I saw food and I couldn't resist it. I just like, ooh, that looked good. Let me see, where am I at? Yeah. So we're at the party, so all the ladies kind of come together, and they're standing there talking to Derek and them, and they're just shooting the breeze and stuff like that. So pretty much most of that conversation was just banter back and forth and having a good time. Lawrence and Condola make it to the party. Now, what was interesting is when certain people came into the party, the certain people noticed who it was. So, for instance, and I'm just going all over the place at this point. For instance, like when Condola and Lawrence came into the party, you notice that Issa noticed it and Nathan noticed it, and he was making he was talking to Issa about that he noticed that when Lawrence walked in, and then Nathan and Issa, acknowledged that Lawrence was there, and then they kind of walked away. And as they were walking away, Lawrence sees Issa. So now Issa and Condola notices that Issa is there. And so it was nice to see those shots from their points of view as they see the people who they've had relationships with. And I'm just speaking in terms of Lawrence and Issa. But when when Nathan saw Lawrence, he was a little salty, and I think he gave me the first words that came to mind was salty when he saw Lawrence. But then I guess when he looked at Issa, it just felt like it was something he was trying to have to live up to. Lawrence is like the myth, the legend, the god type of personality in Issa's life. So he's feeling like he's having to kind of live up to that image. And little does he know, no, you don't, because it wasn't all of that. Not in my opinion. It wasn't all of that. I forgot to mention earlier that as Torian and Torian bought edibles to the party, because I don't know what kind of party he thought it was going to be, but Molly didn't want him to feel odd, so Torian and Molly take this edible, right? And baby, that edible kicked in about 30 minutes later. It might have kicked in earlier because they looked like they didn't eat anything. And Molly and Torian is high, and they do those little things at high. They speak out of turn, or I don't know if anybody's had that what you think is in your head, you actually have said, and you look around like, oh, I didn't realize I said that. I thought it, but I didn't realize my mouth was moving and vocalized what I was thinking. So she had one of them little brain fart moments on her edibles. And she noticed, old Dro has made an appearance back. I'm in an open relationship with my wife, Dro. I don't think he was in an open relationship, if you really want to know the truth about it. I think he just said that and got caught, and I think he wanted some of Molly, and he understood. He read Molly because he's known Molly for so long. But I honestly don't believe that he was in an open relationship. I think that's what he told Molly, because we never did see it from the wife's perspective or anything, and she's never said anything to. Of course, Molly was ducking her anyway. So anyway, that's just old news. But she sees Dro, and like I said, her and Torian are high. So the ladies and the guys separate, and we get into the scene where all the guys are there, and Chad is in his feelings about this briefcase, child. So Derek has to. Derek seems to me, Derek has to kind of smooth it out and console him and let him know, hey, you and I are friends outside of Lawrence. So we good. We gonna be good. Because you can tell Chad is feeling some kind of way. Derek seems like he is going to be missed in that group, because he seems like that linchpin friend. That friend that is friends to everybody, and that he's always smoothing things over for everybody. He seems like that linchpin, and he always seems to be the one that has the wisdom. So they're going to miss that part of Derek. Is Derek going to go to Denver, as they're moving to Denver? And apparently Derek has he must be working with the Denver Nuggets or something like that, because it sounds like the job he has is going to be where the money resides, where the money resides, where the money resides, where the money resides. And Tiffany has made some little points about that. But you can tell that Tiffany is going to be in culture shock, because, LA is her place. She seems like a child of LA, so she understands how to move and groove in LA. So it seems like it's going to be a culture shock for her, and I think she's afraid to move. But I bet that it may be good for her, and it may be good for her and her husband's relationship, being that she can then kind of concentrate on the more meaningful things about a relationship, instead of all of this superficial stuff like, we got to spend all this money because we got to show that we've got money and stuff like that. Now you're going to have money. So it's, not that they didn't have money right now, but just that materialistic type things and how you move in that. Okay, Pamela, say it right. It's like it's moving more with substance instead of the frilliness of everything. And I hope I'm saying this right. LA gives me, though you may have people with substance that live in LA, but LA gives you this facade of what they think substance is. Having the expensive cars, having the expensive house, being able to do all those things. And those things are what people think makes you have a good relationship. When a good relationship requires for you to have to sit down and have communication and talk and do all those things. So maybe this move is going to help her with that. And plus, Denver is not that far away. They can get on a plane and get back and forth together. They can, hell, with Zoom and FaceTime now, you can Zoom and FaceTime your friends and have a virtual party. But anyway, the fellas are kicking it. And you see a little tension between Nathan and Lawrence talking about barbecue. Lawrence, how you gonna argue with Texas barbecue out here in LA? Y'all ain't even in the game. It's one thing for like Texas barbecue and the Carolina barbecue to be arguing, or Memphis and Texas barbecue to be arguing, or deep South states like Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi to be arguing about barbecue. But LA, though I do hear that LA has good food because they have so many different cultures out there. But you should have just said what you needed to say with your chest. You should have said, I'm coming for Issa. That's what you should have said. Out here arguing about barbecue. L.A. and versus L.A. versus Texas. No, 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 no. You should have just said it with your chest. I'm coming after your girl, man. I'm coming. I'm coming back for Issa. That's what you should have said with your chest. But Nathan stood his ground. He was like, Texas barbecue is Texas barbecue. And I like how Derek says, hey, talk your talk, young man. If Texas barbecue is what it is, Texas barbecue is what it is. I like that. Again, Derek gives me that linchpin friend that has a lot of wisdom that allows his friends to do what they need to do. Issa, Molly, Kelly, and Tiffany meet in the kitchen and they're talking and everything. Molly is high. She is laughing loud at jokes and stuff like that. And Kelly's like, you know what? Kelly slaps her because she's laughing so hard that she just like, pow, slaps her. And Molly's like, you slapping? She said, because you acting weird. And so Molly fesses up that she is taking the edible. And everybody's like, oh, okay. Okay, now we see what's going on. And Kelly gets mad because she's like, you should have told me that you were taking an edible because I could have taken one too. So they all laugh it out, and they're in there laughing and talking, and Tiffany is talking about how she's going to miss being with her friends and stuff like that. So they make a pact that they're going to get together for their birthdays. That's the least that they can do. So you're talking about 2 to 3 times because I think Molly and was it Molly and Tiffany or was it Issa and Tiffany? Their birthdays are close together, so Tiffany is coming back for a birthday celebration. I think it was Molly. I didn't write that down, but I remember hearing that. I think it's Molly. So they're in there in the kitchen laughing and stuff like that, and oh, Condi comes in. Condolences. Consistently condolences comes in. Oh, Condola comes into the kitchen because she's got that baby, and she's coming to get the bottle out of the refrigerator. And so Issa and her have a little awkward conversation and stuff like that. It didn't, it wasn't all of that. Issa was being very cordial and things like that. Condola walked in and walked out because, like I said, her and Tiffany, I remember now that her and Tiffany used to work together. And then Condola was helping Issa with her project. So yeah, so her and Tiffany are friends, but Tiffany looked like she just drew a line in the sand and is just on Issa's side. She's not because before they were, she was like making sure that they were friends and stuff like that, because you remember Tiffany knew that Condola and Lawrence were kicking it before and didn't tell anybody. You remember that? But it seems like with the pregnancy and stuff like that, she's not as close to Condola as she used to be. But that's neither here or there. But anyway, they make a pact to meet together on the birthdays. And so then they go out. And as Molly walks out of the kitchen outside, she runs into Dro at the drink station, at the bar. And Dro is talking to her and everything like that. And see, he was giving me that, oh, I guess you did hear about the divorce, because he was going to try to slide back on in. But what he didn't realize is that Molly, when she left him, Molly went to go do the work. And Molly is at a place right now that she can see that the relationship she had with Dro was, and I don't want to call it toxic, it just was unnecessary. It wasn't going to go anywhere because nobody went into that relationship. It wasn't really a relationship. Dro just wanted to have sex with Molly and to be able to dump on Molly all of his stuff. And Molly was really looking for love, and it just wasn't. They were not meshed right. They weren't yoked right. But the sex was good. And I think that's what Dro was looking at. He was, realizing that the sex was good. And I guess he thought he was about to get his old thing back. But one of the great things about that whole interaction to me was the interaction between Molly and Torian. How they are at a place of honesty. That even though Torian walks up She can tell him what's going on, and he's like, okay, I see. Now, I'm not saying that he was in agreement to what was going on, but he was at a place like, hey, we all have past. We do a whole lot of things back in the past that shape who we are today. And it's not like I need to hold that against you, because he was like, hell, I sold Adderall to my friends in college and stuff like that. So everyone has a certain past. But you can tell that Molly has grown, and Dre was awkward. And that's that thing about when your energy changes. Even though your energy changes and you are now open and receptive to what the universe brings to you, in that suction, you can always suck in the wrong type of people, the wrong type of energy. But the one thing that happens is when your energy is not aligned with their energy, so in other words, if they're coming in with negativity and you have a whole lot of positivity, they may be drawn into you. But what happens is, once you push out that positivity, it will expel them. And that's what happened to Joe, because you notice how uncomfortable he felt with the honesty and stuff like that. He's so used to operating in chaos and confusion. You notice how when that energy between Molly and Torian came through about them being positive and I'm using positive loosely, but honesty, the honesty of it all, instead of just like, see what had happened was me and Dre. She was like, me and Dre was in he was in an open marriage. I was in a relationship. We kicked it. We did it, everything like that. It's over. Torian was like, okay. And you notice how she felt, Dro was completely uncomfortable. And you notice how he just scattered. He just left. He was so uncomfortable with it, because he was going in there with that energy of being a slick talker and see if I can slick talk Molly and get in her drawers kind of talk. And that didn't work out. And Tori, blah, blah, blah. And that didn't work out. That just didn't work out. He wasn't going to be able to do that. And Molly feeling uncomfortable because she was thinking that Torian saw less of her. And he was like, no, we had a past. You had a past. We're going to do this. And I like later on, Molly and Torian are so high at one point that they are literally looking for the mac and cheese balls. And then they realize, we're going to go to the source. They go in there and they are tearing up that catering table, honey. They are eating all these, they eating that food and whatnot, all off the trays and stuff. And then they almost got caught, so they run into the food pantry, and they have a nice moment. And she's like, guys always run from me because they get sick of me, and, I like this relationship, and I don't want you to get sick of me. And he's like, when I first met you, I didn't like you. But as I got to know you, I realized that I like you, and I'm not sick of you. So they have their moment, which is good. And the one thing she said that stuck out to me was, this feels easy. This feels natural. That's how a relationship is supposed to feel. There's not supposed to be this tension. You're supposed to know everything that I'm thinking and then supply me with all the needs and stuff that I have. And then you're not supposed to always be doing, it's supposed to be an ease. Once you realize that there's an ease. It's like an ebb and a flow, and that's what they talk about when you're compatible. There's an ebb and a flow. Now, suitability is another topic of discussion, but they are compatible with each other. And I think that that's something that Molly needed. She needed someone that was compatible with her. And I don't think she's dated people that were compatible with her. So then, Issa goes to the trash can outside, walks over to the trash to drop some trash in the trash can. And, where she went, there's like hedges and stuff like that. So when she turns back around and comes, honey, she runs into Lawrence. And she yells out a little scream. It was like, oh! That's how she did. And Lawrence kind of confronted her and everything like that about, just basically professing his love for her and how he felt like he didn't fight for her. All at the wrong time. Now, the one thing I noticed with Issa, she listened to what he said, but she wasn't captivated. Now, Issa, third season Issa, That would have been all she needed to hear. Her mind would have been racing. She would have been thinking about this wedding that they were about to have. She just would have fell into that. But this Issa is just listening to what he had to say. And she was like, well, and I don't think she had an opportunity to get what she needed to get out, because he professed his love for her. And baby, I guess because Nathan heard that little scream, he comes running, and he hears Lawrence profess his love for her. He's like, what's going on here? Baby, the men's was fighting. The men's were fighting, honey. Torian had to pull Lawrence one way. Issa and Issa's doing everything she can to get Nathan the other way. Molly is just in the middle. So the other guys I guess they didn't have an opportunity to get there because they had kind of squashed it or whatever. But Nathan was so upset. He was like, give me a moment. Give me a moment. You just give me one moment here. Because they were fighting. And so Molly's like, you okay? You okay, girl? And you can tell that Issa is, because everybody started looking. You know what happens when you fight. I am so surprised that nobody yelled World Star. Do they still do that? I remember a few years ago, World Star was everywhere. But I guess a lot of these social media apps stopped allowing fights and things like that to be shown on the platform. So I guess that World Star stuff kind of faded out. Is World Star Hip Hop still up and running? Anyway, I was just curious because I remember it used to be popular a few years back. But anyway, Issa looks around and she sees everybody looking at her and she's feeling uncomfortable about it. And Nathan did the right thing. He walked away, told him to give him a minute. But that was the end of the episode. So Lawrence is out here being an agent of chaos, listening to Chad, though Chad did drop a good gem, but to me it's too late. I think that you all have reached a point in your relationship where you all are just going to have to, I hope she doesn't go back to Lawrence. I hope she stays with Nathan. I'm not saying that Nathan is the best person for her, but her seasons have changed. She's in a new season of her life where she is more confident in who she is, and that is paying off with her job and things like that. I don't see Lawrence fitting into that because they're going to always be going back and forth about how the demise of their relationship. They tried again. She tried going back with him, and it didn't work because she realized that she couldn't be stepmommy. That's something that she didn't want to do. And that's fine. So she's moved to a new season. I think Lawrence is in a new season of his life, being a father, co-parenting with Condola. And I think that they, I want relationship and love for them, but I don't think it's with each other. And I don't think that Nathan and, like I said, I don't think Nathan and Issa are going to last forever. But I think that they are right for each other in this moment. And I think she needs to lean into that and keep going. So y'all tell me what y'all think. Because this is the second to the last episode for the series. Tell me what you think down here in the comments. And as in always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share my video. I'm still on my quest for 500 subscribers in 6 months. Tell your family, tell your friends, hell, even tell your enemies about my page and let them come over here and watch some of these videos that I got for them. Like always, my loves, bye-bye.